Good afternoon. Welcome everybody along to the Freedom's Call Facebook group. Some of you will of course be aware of the fact that there has been a Freedom's Call Facebook page up and operating. It's my intention over this next few months to gradually transition some of the material that's on that page across here to the group. The reason I've gone ahead and set up the group is because I think that it is a far better forum for the interchange of ideas, the sharing of experiences and memories, the provision of things like letters, postcards, photographs. I just think it's really a fantastic forum for being able to get together and celebrate and share what our forebears have done in the defence of our country. So I'm not going to talk very long here because I don't want to bore you. I just want to give you a very quick introduction as to what Freedom's Call is all about. Initially, we were looking at setting up a database, or when I say we, essentially I, was looking at setting up a database of 2nd NZEF personnel. And the idea was that I'd provide CDs of the material that I had created, and I would pass this information on to the likes of libraries, colleges, genealogical societies, some of the museums, those sorts of people. And indeed I did that about 4 or 5 years back. The role was pretty big then. It's a lot bigger now, of course. And with the passing of time, I've also been opened up to a lot more material online, which has enabled me to produce other roles. For example, the Other Forces role, which brings in the likes of airmen and Navy personnel, and also those who served in overseas forces. But that said, it should be recognised that the website, which later also came into being, was set up essentially to recognise those who'd served the 2nd NZEF, the men and women who'd gone overseas then. Now this forum here is quite different, and I'd ask you to, if you haven't done already, to go back and look at the rules and the about information, because it extends scope quite a lot further out than the page did. And so you will in fact be able to put up a lot of information pertaining to servicemen and women who didn't go overseas, for example, who served here in New Zealand during World War II, members of the Home Guard, Red Cross, the Coastal Defence Fortifications, those sorts of things. You'll be able to put that information up here, and other information as well pertaining to the history of Northland over that period. So that said, just a very, very quick overview, if you like, of the roles, and it will be, I'll really try and make this quick. I hope to knock it out in about 10 minutes flat. And so we'll take a look first of all at the website. I would just want to bring your attention to the main headers of the website and what you're likely to see there, and we'll just enlarge on the roles a little bit from there. Okay, so the landing page itself basically provides you with an introduction to the big role, to the 2nd NZEF role, a little bit of info if you want to learn something of what I've been up to in the lead up to this, and then a reference to a quick start guide being made available, and just exactly what you can expect to find here. And in summary, where you need to go if you want to download these roles. And there are several roles, just to list those very, very quickly for you. The 2nd NZEF Freedom's Call Roll of Honour. These are all in Excel spreadsheet format. That one has over 8,000 8,000 lines of data, and that is spread over about 27 columns of a spreadsheet. So if you look at any one of those service personnel, you'll get a lot of information by just reading across that one line of information. And in some instances, there have been multiple embarkations for these people. And so we're looking at close to 6,750 odd servicemen and women are reflected in those 8,000 odd lines of data. The Other Forces role has over 1,200 entries, and but that is a less ambitious role, and it's fair to say there's probably not as much information gone into that as there has been in the big role, and there will be a lot more information coming to hand there. And the other problem that arises with the other forces role is that if we take, for example, someone who served with the Royal New Zealand Air Force, short of calling up their service records, there is no way of knowing whether in fact that person went overseas or not, usually anyway. The Lest We Forget role, we have close to 600 odd people on that, and those men, I think they were mainly men, well, they were mainly men. They did not return to New Zealand, or if they did, they died very soon after as a result of wounds sustained in the course of service. There is also an extrapolated 28 Maori battalion role, close to 1,000 entries on that, and that information there has been made available to the New Te Rao Aroha Museum up in Waitangi, if they wish to draw on any of that information, and also the creators of the new book on 28 Maori Battalion A Company. There is a nurses and work role, NZANS, New Zealand Army Service Nurses, or Army Nursing Service, I should say, and Women's Auxiliary Army Corps roles, about close to 175 entries there. Importantly, also a relatively new creation, a familial role, which links a particular serviceman or woman with other members of the family who served alongside of them, whether overseas or here in New Zealand during World War II. So at a glimpse, one can see just who in that family, in the way of immediate members, whether they be brothers, father, son, daughter, whatever, wife, whatever, they can be seen just zeroing in on that one person. You can see at a glimpse who else served in that immediate family. And we have a listing of prisoners of war as well, close to 660 men who served as prisoners of war, and I'm talking just for the moment on that listing the 2nd NZEF personnel. There were a few who were in other arms of the Air Force and other arms of the services who were also taken prisoner of war, but they're not on that particular listing. They are recorded elsewhere. Now, I've already touched on the fact that a Facebook page exists, and this group is a new innovation which I hope you will find of real value, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great thing. So just touching on the other sub-menus that are available on the website itself, and the website is to be found at Freedom's Call, that's one word, freedomscall.nzmkr.com/WordPress /. So I'll repeat that again, freedomscall.com, sorry, I'll start right again, sorry, freedomscall.nzmkr.com /WordPress /. Okay, now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 menus at the top of the page of the website, and each of those menus has another 5 sub-menus. So under Roles of Honour, for example, we're zeroing in more specifically now at the 2nd NZEF Role of Honour. There's a page dealing with the embarkation lists themselves. There's a page dedicated to the Other Forces Role of Honour, also to the Lest We Forget role, and to the Prisoner of War list. If we then move on and look at the nominal roles, which is where I got most of this information from in the first place, in other words, this was the catalyst for everything that was to follow. We have an introduction to the nominal roles, where they're to be located, a full breakdown of each of the embarkations themselves, what you're likely to see on those roles, and a little spiel on errata which are to be found on the rolls for anything that needed to be corrected after the rolls had been presented. Births, deaths, marriages. Again, notes on birth index entries, how one can go about establishing date of birth, a separate section relating to the marriage index, and also notes on death index entries and how you can, if you so wish, go about establishing date of death through the registries. A lot of information on cemetery records, and they're broken down into Whangarei districts, the far north cemeteries, Auckland and Hamilton cemeteries, the Mount Wesley and other cemeteries, and there's also a section on the Find a Grave and Billion Graves websites where many photographs are to be found. And there's a heap of information, I might add, on these different postings. Quite a lot on Maru Urupa, for example, you'll find in here as well. And finally, a menu titled Knowledge Repositories, where we have information on the Maori Battalion rolls, Auckland War Museum cenotaph, from which much of this information has been drawn, the nursing service and WARC rolls, again, a little bit more information about them, along with prisoners of war. And then right at the tail end, we have a submenu devoted solely to other resources, and that points you in the direction of all sorts of things. So this information has come from a variety of sources. It's come from the likes of the cenotaph database, it's come from the nominal rolls as well, the New Zealand War Graves Project, the War Graves Commission. It's also birth and death indices, a myriad of cemeteries, including some of the very, very smaller cemeteries, and this is right throughout the country. Genealogical websites, whakapapa websites, as I said, the nursing roll, information on prisoners of war, Maori Battalion website. There's just tons and tons and tons of information, and along the way there have been one or two people that have been able to assist me as well. Now that's, I think, all I need to really say about this. I don't want to go into it in any more detail at this stage, other than to say welcome. Great to have you along here with us. I'm hoping we're going to see tons and tons and tons of information shared here. I don't want to get into posting a lot of content myself. To be honest, I just don't have the time to do it, because I'm still doing quite a lot of work on the rolls themselves, taking up a lot of my time, even though I'd say 95% of the work has been done. But yeah, please do exchange, do share, do really make this group something that everybody is proud of, and that you'll want to revisit time and time again. And don't forget, please share, share, share. So the important links again, I've given you the Freedom's Call website link. I don't think I need to give you that again. Remember, there is also a page at Freedom's Call, at Facebook, Freedom's Call page, and there is also a quick start guide, which I think you need to be aware of, which is available for download also from the Freedom's Call website. So thank you for being here, and looking forward to interacting with you, and hope you really enjoy your time with us here. Thanks. Bye for now.